Hi everyone. Sorry for taking a slight while to get this prepared, but voila. Um, as you know and have seen over the last year, generative AI has really stormed the market and caused a lot of disruption in software as a service in almost any industry, but probably also in analytics and reporting, the domain that is of course close to our heart. Um, there are new advancements weekly. It's really difficult to keep up and keep on the bleeding edge. So we wanted to have this discussion with two experts in the field in data and analytics. So please welcome Eva from Spaceflow and Bart, CEO at Accurate, a Belgian analytics company, I can say, to talk about their experiences in AI, rolling out AI, the risks that they see, etc. So to kick this off, perhaps it's a good idea to quickly introduce yourself, your role, and the company that you work for. Eva?
Right. Hi, everybody. I'm Eva Lisonova, and I work at Spaceflow. We are based in Prague. Our product is focused on more like on tenant experience app for commercial buildings. So we are in PropTech. Our product consists from the features like booking amenities, ticketing, newsfeed, visitor management system, and an access system. And all those features are like tracking by our data, our user data, and we are like visualization thing in the dashboards. And our clients are, for example, owners, landlords, property management companies.
So, I'm Bart. I'm a CEO of Accurate. We like the renters of the locations over there. So the Delhaize's, the Lidl, the Aldi's, so the supermarkets, the retail brands. Those are the brands that we work for, and we provide them with insights to better understand their consumers, their brand, and their markets. So we provide benchmarking services to better understand who is visiting my store, are they going to my neighboring store, so my competitors, etc. And we do so by processing a lot of data, big data, millions of coordinates of users every single day. So that's basically what we do.
Yep, super cool. Perhaps just to kick off and set the stage a little bit on where we are today, could you perhaps share a little bit how you are using AI already today, either internally in your company or as part of your product behind the scenes or really user facing already?
Yeah.
Perhaps Bart?
Yeah, I know that the topic of today's generative AI, but let's start with AI as such, because I mentioned we're processing millions of coordinates, and there's a lot of information over there, and we also have labeled data from our customers. So using AI to improve the quality of what we are delivering, so the end visits, or there were no visits, or there were more visits, or the evolution is positive. There, it's all about quality, and a qualitative understanding is something where we use AI for to really improve the models that we create. Another example where we use AI, we also predict if you open a store over there, it would be a better location with a better business outcome. So the revenue of that case, the ROI is way more positive when you open it over there. And once again, it's about label data, and we can understand it, and AI is really useful for that. When it comes to generative AI or the front end of what our customers are using, there we are actually at square zero. We're not using it yet. We're thinking of it all the time, and not so much all of the time, in a way that let's first use it where it is proven to work and to be very useful. And when it comes to using it in our front end, we haven't found yet what to do best. So there it stops for us. Right.
Let's get back on that definitely in a second.
In Spaceflow, we are still at the beginning, so we are not using much AI in analytics, since our core business is more about the features, and we are just tracking data from those features. But yeah, we have a lot of ideas how to use it like in future. So maybe like later I will get back to that.
Okay, perfect. So also at Square Zero or even before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. When designing AI features that are really useful for your clients, what are the main requirements that you see for for them to be able to get a lot of value from those products?
Yeah, go first, or yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think, like I mentioned before, I think for us the most important thing, and it was mentioned before as well in the previous presentation, let's focus on what is the value that we want to bring. If we embed AI in our solution, what is the main need that we're solving? And I think that's the first requirement. Is there a customer benefit, and will it be solved better when using AI? Then I think we should do it. But for the moment, that first requirement is not met yet. And as long as that's not met, I can think of next steps and other requirements, but it doesn't make sense to think about it as long as we didn't decide on this is what we want to do. Now let's start doing it.
Do you have a timeline for that in mind already, or?
No, we currently we've created there was an internal presentation of our CTO, I think a few weeks back, about how we will be embedding machine learning and AI algorithms even more in our solution, but they were all focused on the back end, all focused on improving quality, improving our existing algorithms, going from a heuristic and rule-based system to an AI-based system. So it's all behind the scenes, and it's probably because we didn't think of the best solution yet. We have some thoughts about our future vision, and it's all about AI, but it's not easily translated to what should we do first.
But speeding up development, etc., increasing efficiency of your company. I mean, that can already be a big leap, even if your clients don't immediately see that it's AI, right? So it seems like a good launching pad and as a good step.
Definitely.
Like for us, it's like we are maybe a little bit step ahead of Bart. Like we already know like what our client needs because we are like hearing it like all the time. So and we are trying to hear it like even when we are closing the deals with the new clients, like what the issue, what the problem is they need to solve. Usually they need to like save some time, and AI can bring this. But also we are right now in what under requirement is like data quality, the source of data. We have like two types of data in our company. One is like internal like data, what we are like using for like prospecting database or market research, and those are like from like a lot of sources which we need to like consolidate, and then like we can like maybe even get some analytics from this. But another one like type is user data, what we are using, and we are building our platform on this. So our database, it's straightforward, and we are still like trying to understand like what we can like track there. Even we are adding some fields and everything, like what we need to measure, and what metrics we can like get to the value of the even dashboards or like with the AI.
Yep. As you talk about data quality, do you also see a potential there for AI to help you out again there internally to improve the situation so that you can take that next step?
For a few of those, yes, but for like additional research or double checks also. But like in PropTech, we are still at the beginning of the market research, and we are still like finding or searching some of the really good source of data for our prospecting, because like a lot of databases or like companies with this market research data, they have it like more focused on just the real estate companies or developers, landlords, but not at PropTech. And we have like kind of different data type what we need, and that's why we are trying like we can like of course use the AI for this, but it will be also like just saving our time, but not that fully.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to invite you now to think broadly and be a visionary. How do you see like the landscape evolve of analytics and reporting?
For
How will it change?
for our product, like I said, like we have already like some ideas how we can use the AI. Since we are like operating like for like landlords, we have desktop platform which it's used by space managers or like property managers, and then we have end users used by mobile app. Mm, we want to like save time mostly for property managers because they are paying us like for this mainly, and for example, we would like to bring some customer success digital assistant because like one of the features is newsfeed for us. So a lot of time is spent by like crafting post announcements, scheduling of those posts, and AI can bring the analytics of the performance of the user engagement of those posts and like create this schedule for the post, for announcements and everything like this for the property managers, craft the posts, and they will just check it out, and maybe they can even save time up to 1 month of their work. So
Wow.
really it could be like major thing for them. And also ESG, it's under hype everywhere, but in real estate it's even more. And we partnered with one under like a hardware company, which is like for consumption of energy and tracking the consumption, and also like we can use it like for like bringing some suggestion of like you are using consumption like energy or water too much or like over the average of the building. Just here are suggestions how you can like decrease this and like all those like consumption in ESG can be like done by AI as well.
Yeah, that's super cool. So you take like a one shift in the market to have more attention to SG, and then another one to actually solve the problem.
They can
bring
help
them
each
together.
other.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hubert?
Yeah. I mentioned before we have a broad vision about AI and how we want to be or where we want to be in the future. And the whole idea, and that's also how we started, is we want to build like an AI bot, we always call it a smart assistant of the retailer who helps them decide on what's the next best thing. And that sounds rather vague, but we call it internally Simon. You know the game Simon Says. So if Simon says something, you need to listen, or at least you need to clap your hands or whatever. And the idea is that Simon, with AI, of course, in the name, so Simon, if he says something in the future, that's the moment when you listen. And if we look at where we are in that process, now currently we're looking back. So we're processing data up until yesterday, let's say. So we understand the past, which is great because we can use it to review the success of a campaign, the success of a previous reopening or a remodeling or a new store, whatever. So we can look back. Now is the time that we use that data to see, can we predict something? And in the future, it's rather about, we see some moves in the market and we know from the past that this is what will be happening. You are losing customers because of your pricing policy, something like that. So we need to say, or Simon will need to say, you should do something about your pricing policy, focus on your private label, because then you will win back that customer who is leaving over there. We're far away from that yet, but that's our ultimate goal, and there definitely AI will be a big part of it. But how do you translate it to today, and what is the interface that we should be building? We didn't solve that question yet.
But those seem like some very interesting plans. At
yeah,
least,
plans at least. Yeah.
Okay. We've heard it a couple of times already today. Hype cycle. I want your professional opinion on this. Like, are we at the top in the hype cycle or somewhere else already? Of course, we can listen to Gartner, but who believes those guys, right? I want to hear your opinion. What do you think?
Okay, so I think it's like kind of both. Like it's a hype and it's here to stay for sure. But it's somewhere like maybe on the top of the hype or like lower top of the high, like first cycle. But I believe the next step of AI is regulation. It will bring like per governments and that's maybe go a little bit lower than, and maybe then like we will learn how to use it, how we cannot use it. Like it's GDPR, it's already here, and like for sure like under AI or under analytics technology will be regulated, and by European Union for sure. So for sure like we think like it's competitive advantage to right now to test it, to maybe try it out a little bit, and then to maybe like to know like how we can even leverage it like later and what we can like do with this.
Yeah, I think it's more or less the same opinion. We were discussing it from before. I really believe it's currently at the is it the plateau of inflated expectations? Then it will move back. And I was listening to a podcast. I was in the car yesterday for quite a while, and I was listening to the Nerdland podcast. Yeah, and it was all about AI and the fact that writing good prompts is probably a skill that we're trying to master right now, but it's probably a skill that we will never need again as from within a year or something like that.
Yep.
And I really believe that as well. Now we're trying to write the best prompt ever, and you see LinkedIn posts about how to write the best prompt for, etc. And I think it's a good thing because it helps us to understand and use the technology and better understand what's all the possibilities. But today it's about copying what we do today. We need to make an image for a campaign. Now we use AI to create an image for a campaign. But in the future, generative AI can be used probably for a lot of things that we don't think of yet. And I really think we need to go through that valley before going back up the mountain again. So I really think we're, the sooner it's going down, the better, I believe, because then we can go up again. Yeah.
The valley will probably or definitely be coming. The argument that it's changing so quickly for me is an indication that perhaps it's still going up.
Yep,
actually,
maybe.
and we are a bit to the left of the hype cycle.
No.
So much cool things are still being released, like every week. What will the ceiling be? I don't know. So I'm wondering. It's an interesting time to be alive, at least. Do you have some tips for other SaaS companies how to get started? Things that perhaps held you back from starting or are holding you back today from starting that they can avoid?
I think I once again previously mentioned get on base. I think just do it. There's probably 100 reasons not to do something, whether it's about generative AI or other things. And what we've learned is find a use case and do it, and then learn while doing and fail fast, indeed, as mentioned. I also believe in that principle. And whether it's with working with a partner where we think this could really work, just find a use case, try it, and then you see whether the partnership will last or not. And as I mentioned, we didn't find the idea yet, because otherwise we would probably have tested it. And if we don't test it, an intern will test it. You always find somebody who can test things.
Your vendor, for example.
Sorry?
Your vendors, for example.
Who knows? But maybe today somebody has an idea. Please let me know, because then we can start testing.
If as I mentioned already, like the good quality of data, like you need at first, then like you need to understand those data. In Space Law, we are still like trying to like learning how to what we are like what we have, what all we have, because we have mobile analytics data, we have user data, we have like a lot of data, and we are trying to leverage it as well, and also need to know like what the clients need, as it was also mentioned. But yeah, we have to test it out and see like and learn from that, like what it will work, what's not, like if it's really value what we want to bring to our client, if we, or the feedback from our client even, like do you want this or not? Because of course, like we analysts, we can like figure out or create some visuals, everything. Like we see like yeah, that's great, but if it don't, it doesn't bring the value, it's useless. So
Perhaps speaking about value, and seems that that one is duplicate there in the middle. Uh, what do you see as the potential return on investment? Is Are you mainly seeing it as, well, my competitors will take over, I need to invest in it just to remain status quo, or is there money to be made here? Like, do you feel that your clients are also looking at you for potential upsell modules, monetization that is in there in offering features like this?
Okay, I can start. Like, we are right now solving a lot of issues, like with our clients, which they want to like export the data to their platform.
Mhm.
So of course, the AI, if we can start ahead of them, we can like bring them extra value, and they will stay with us and use our analytics, or at least we'll go to for another analytics and their like metrics to our platform, and then they can use their platform just for basic reporting. But return on investments, for sure, like in our company, we monetize the data and everything about that. We include it in the product, in the price. So of course,
for all your clients, or is it like a
for our
separate,
clients,
yep.
for our and because like dashboards, for example, they are like in the pricing for, and it's mandatory for everyone. But if they want to custom dashboards, custom data, exports, and everything like this, we monetize these, and we have like extra fees for this.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's a rather hard question. I think for our customer, it's probably, or back to the customer need. Our customers, just like with any SaaS solution, they are not buying software to be in the software all the time. They buy software because they want to solve a solution. And I think if we can do that and help them save time because they just want to understand, should I open a store here, yes or no, then we need to be able to provide the shortest answer possible, yes or no, probably.
Which can be a multi-million
Yeah.
euro decision.
Voila, so let's
with one
charge multi-million.
Simon insight,
Yeah.
right?
But indeed, it's
But are they then willing to pay?
Yeah, we're not there
of that
yet.
to you?
But it's a very important decision for them. So they want more than a yes or no, obviously. But if, and it's maybe an idea for Lusmo,
I'm listening.
For us right now, what we're doing is we're generating a lot of insights, and we provide them in our dashboard just to say, this is what's behind the yes or the no, or behind the 3 million or the 6 million case. And but not all of the data is relevant all of the time. So generating the reasons why and explaining what AI cooked up. This is the question. This is the answer. Explaining so it's comprehensible for the user. I see and I understand why it decided yes or no. That's something that we need to be able to provide. And if they can do it just by typing the answer and asking Google, and we are the first link providing the answer, it's also fine as long as they're paying, obviously. So making it simple, making them win time, making that they believe what we're doing. I think that there's the value for the customer. For us, we'll see. There's value for them. There's value for us to be made. That's what I believe.
I also think you touched upon an interesting point where we often get the question, generative AI, language models. It's very interesting, but it's not perhaps very relevant for very data-driven insight numbers, because LLMs can do math really well. But it might be interesting to use them to make other insights that come from other types of models more explainable. Like why do you need to do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, I think the example that you showed, or that Karel showed in the beginning, I know what I want, and I just ask for a graph for a specific metric, for instance. And there it makes perfect sense, and it definitely speed up building of dashboards. But customers don't want to ask for market penetration, in our case, for instance, for a specific store. They want to ask the question, why is this store performing bad? And there's probably 100 possible reasons, and if AI can filter out 5, and then we can make sure that we show those 5 or the arguments for those 5 reasons, that's where the value lies. And so no idea yet how we will manage that, but that's the idea.
Yep. Okay, makes sense. To definitely allow some time for questions for the audience, I think this is a good time to wrap up with these questions. But is there something else that you want to ask our panel?
Yeah, also contemplating on the value. I think the obvious one is saving time. But the other one, isn't it that it provides an objective conclusion on your data, or at least the illusion of an objective solution, so that as a client, it's easier to convince your coworkers, convince your clients saying, oh, this is objective, this is not my opinion, this is what the computer says.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a wrong decision, yeah. I think a lot of big companies are paying Boston Consulting Group and McKinsey and smart people to make to take the decision for them, because then it's a report who says smart people told us so. So we did. I think AI could be the next McKinsey or the next Boston and saying the AI told us so. But then again, you're paying McKinsey to receive a 800-pager report. I think for AI it shouldn't be 800 pages, but at least there should be some evidence. And I think indeed the value is objectifying, or not necessarily objectifying, because it could be wrong as well, but at least using more data to take your decision. And that's definitely in our space for retail, and I think for tenants and in PropTech as well. They're not using data all that much. It's very gut feeling based, and moving beyond that and using an AI algorithm that understands at least more data that they can ever process in their Excel file, that's a good thing. And I think it's definitely a good value proposition, aside from winning time, or yeah, good thing, good thinking.
Maybe a question, what do you think the value of business model, of business rules, of domain models, the things that you understand for your customers, but that are not necessarily things that are trained on? How do you feel about that value and AI and protecting that value that you actually have as a company?
Can you give an example?
So, for example, you know, based on the data that that you get, where people are, what they do, you probably have some rules that your clients are saying, yes, we can do X, but we can do Y. And generative AI probably doesn't take that into account. So how are you thinking about mixing and matching the domain knowledge, the business rules that you have right now with AI? Because you specifically mentioned the backend, for example. Yeah. In that way. So besides generative AI, but then your business rules in that way.
Well, I think the reason why we didn't start with AI is I think it makes good sense to build a product that what you're doing with your data is something that you understand yourself. So a heuristic-based model makes perfect sense. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of coordinates, and you have like a big supermarket store and a smaller like a fast food chain or something like that. If you plot the coordinates on a map, you can immediately understand where the user was, because it makes perfect sense. It's very clear data. There's some inaccuracies, but overall you understand it. And the first thing that you do is try to build a model that says, if the coordinates are in the building, then it makes sense that it's probably over there. If it's during lunchtime, it makes sense that if there's a a possibility that it's here or there. It might be towards the restaurant, and if it's a very long visit, it's probably rather in the supermarket. And so you build a model that you understand yourself, then you start learning, and then you see, okay, we're doing good. We have very high correlation figures and things that we can validate. But in the end, you want to do it even better for also the locations where it's less clear. And then we are treating our data as labeled data, and it's totally not labeled, but that's how we treat it. And now we can start feeding AI models, and for instance, we're using Amazon AutoGlue, and it's like a combination of 15 different machine learning algorithms, and they just look at the data and they spit out something, and then we try to validate it, and if it's better, then we move forward with that. So not entirely sure if I answer your question,
Yeah,
but
because
this is what we're doing.
The question would then be, because that's how you build defensibility, right?
Yeah.
Without the data that you have,
Yeah.
You wouldn't get to the value that you're able to
correct.
contribute
Yeah.
to your customer.
Yeah, I think AI is a means to an end, always, whether it's for the backend and quality improvements, or whether it's for the interface to generate a better dashboard. It's always a means to an end, and yeah, I think the data is a value. The algorithm is something that will improve and keep improving, but our data is our data, literally, and think that's what will be. We need good AI on top of it, but the data is what's the real value, I think, today. Yeah.
Okay. Any other final question?
Yeah, I just already raised my hand, but you partly already answered, because I was really wondering how you would deal with AI finding different patterns than you actually expected. So, so you just mentioned that you validate them. Are they valuable to you, or are they a nuisance?
I'm trying to think of a case where it was like that. Probably there's a lot of examples, but I can't think of one right now. I think in the majority of the cases, it validates your gut feeling, or what's common sense, or what can actually be validated. I mentioned some things we can really validate, like if we say there's 100 customers and there were 102, it's quite good, because we know the 102 number. But now we're saying we thought it was 100, and now we have an algorithm that says it's 50, but we can't validate the 50 nor the 100. What do we do? And I think we build models on top of what we know is, so where we have ground truth data, I think try to learn from that for the other cases. But if it's in most of the cases what we expect, then I think I would believe it also when it gives some strange results, I guess. Not sure.
I think it's a big challenge. We see it as well, kind of, and sometimes it's more hallucinating, kind of giving you false feedback, even if it's based on data. But then often it's kind of because the query that you actually thought was kind of a good one, it's really the wrong one. So I think it's really important that making the connection between the question or the problem that the user has, and then also kind of explaining what is behind this, is really critical, because otherwise people might think that, oh, this is fine, this is good, interesting, this is a new insight, but actually it might be misinterpreting your question actually, and it's very difficult kind of to have the trust in the AI actually, and especially when it's critical decision making.
Yeah, I think that's why I indeed mentioned you have the results, but you want to understand the result, and if you provide it with additional like arguments, then it makes more sense. And I think if I see a lot of arguments that make sense, then probably I will believe it. But not if all the arguments are contrasting what you, what you, what your intuition.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. Very short final one then.
I think that as you're not offering AI yet, I think one of the things that is most difficult about offering it is. Sorry. So I think one of the most difficult things about offering AI is making sure that your customers are ready for it. So we have early adopters and we don't. Maybe supermarket owners are not the most early adopters of AI technology. How do you think about that? Do you think it's really something, if you would have it today, would it be a USP, or is it something that would still be, let's say, hard to sell at this point to your target audience?
I think we're working for the headquarters, so that's a bit different from an actual supermarket owner. But we see, for instance, two different types of clients. Those who have data departments and they're very data skilled, and we don't hear them a lot. They can use our products. And on the other hand, you have users that give you a phone call and say, I got this question, can you help me? And then we try to solve it as well. And now we're not building like AI, because AI, probably it will be used by them and not so much by those people, because they will still call us, I guess. But now we're trying to give them like a simple interface, could be an AI interface in the future, where both of them can ask, well, questions, or at least say, the store opened at that moment and I want to understand this. And then we will be providing it. I think it's possible, because now we cater our solutions to the needs. And for instance, this customer, they want data exports or an API, and they use the dashboards, but they also generate their own graphs and insights. And this user just wants the answer, the yes or no, with the 3 graphs, so he can send it to his boss, and the boss says, okay, thanks. I understand the decision making behind it. I think it can be used for both, yeah.
Okay. Eva, Bart, thanks for joining the panel.
You're welcome.
If you still have questions, they are available during the break or later on. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks.